You're watching WJLA 24/7 News. Good Morning Washington. On your side.
Well, after a marathon day of testimony yesterday, a crucial vote in the House Judiciary Committee on impeachment got delayed last night. So now it's supposed to take place today before it heads to a full House vote next week. Democrats say they're confident that they have the numbers to impeach the president. And we bring in political insider Armstrong Williams right now to discuss this. Good to see you, Armstrong, after a couple of weeks where you weren't with us. But the Democrats looks like they want to have this over in the House, and then it goes to the Senate, likely, where it's GOP controlled. Now, Mitch McConnell says he wants it to be a speedy trial there, but the president says he wants it to be a longer trial. He wants to call witnesses like Hunter Biden and even the whistleblower. So would a quick trial in the Senate, would that help or hurt the president?
Well, if you look at the polling and the independents who were, the president was losing, all of a sudden he's gaining again. And even the vote last night, they felt the Republicans filibustered for so long, they wanted the vote to take place way into the night where nobody was watching. And so they decided to pull that fast one. They said, we're going to do it this morning while most people are watching so they can see the process. Look, let me tell you, I've said from the beginning, I say it now. This whole process is so bogus. Many people, including myself, still don't understand, what are you impeaching this guy on? And the other crazy part about it is that he's enjoying it. Who in their right mind would enjoy the process of being impeached? You would think that you'd want the vote to happen next Wednesday, and as Mitch McConnell said, it will be over as soon as it starts. But the president wants witnesses. Does he really understand what's happening and how the country is paralyzed? Even though the Democrats in the House gave him a victory, there's something they agreed on. They wanted to show they can still impeach the president and also get the work of the American people done at the same time. But this process, listen, people see this as a drama, but less and less people are watching it, and you can see in the polls now, even CBS, even CNN had to admit where the president's disapprovals, his disapprovals are going down. The president, they're almost 55% of the American people don't want the president impeached. That was a far cry than 2 or 3 weeks ago. The Democrats must bring closure. And the other reason they need to bring closure, Melanie, what nobody's talking about, is a lot of these Democrats who won in Trump's states are very vulnerable and they're really on the edge. That's why some of them said this week, well, why don't we just censor him instead of impeach him? And then you heard the Speaker of the House say this week, we're not going to force our Democrats to stand in line to vote for impeachment. If they don't want to vote for impeachment, we're not going to put any pressure on them.
But they still feel like they'll have the numbers even if they have a couple of defections. I want to ask you about the charges. The Democrats have very narrow charges here. 1, abuse of power, and 2, obstruction of Congress. No mention of obstruction of justice. Nothing about Russia and the Mueller report. What do you make of that?
That's my point. What are the charges? Why are we going through this process? I know you don't like the man. I know you find him to be disgusting. I think you find him to be over top. You don't feel that he has the decorum. But are those reasons to impeach someone? I mean, you should not, if you're going to undo the will of the American people, this is only the 3rd time in the history of this country that something like this has taken place. You should have some solid rock charges against him. They just don't have them. And so people beginning to lose faith in the process. And the Democrats, who had this bravado and who had the strength going in, are putting themselves in a position now where they could possibly lose the House in 2020. And also, you ask yourself this question. Ask this question to anybody watching. Do you really believe there's someone, including Bloomberg, Deval Patrick, Elizabeth Warren, Joe Biden, who's going to beat Trump in 2020? Who do they have? They still have to find a candidate to beat him. We don't talk as much about the Democratic debates as we talked about. Trump feels, because he's looking at the private poll numbers, this process is helping him, and he wants to milk it as much as he can.
And interesting that after all this testimony, not a single Republican is breaking with the president over on the Senate side.
That's again, it's historic.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Armstrong. Good to talk to you. And you can watch the Armstrong Williams Show every Saturday morning at 10:30 right here on WJLA 24/7 News. Right now, 7:13 is your time, and coming up, 24/7's on your side, getting answers about why firefighters were sent to the wrong house 10 miles away from where they were supposed to go. Hear the 911 audio that we obtained that is shedding light on what exactly happened.